Is Love is Blind racist? Or can the contestants on Love is Blind be thrown off by someone's ethnicity? In this video, we're gonna take a look at how race can be a factor in dating. And if you're a minority, how to recognize when someone is not willing to date you if you're Asian, Black, Latino, Middle Eastern, or mixed, or whatever minority you might be. We're also going to find out when to know if someone is using the race card as an excuse versus when it is really a deal breaker, and how to recognize the difference. Spoiler alert for season 7, leave now if you don't want to find out what happened. Red flag number 4. Qualify quickly if the person has a race deal breaker. Now Garrett, one of my favorite people on the show, super smart physicist, seems like a nice guy, but this question completely threw him off.
Tell me more about your parents.
My mom's first name, I think it gives away part of like how I look, like my ethnicity.
So instead of embracing the unknown, this is the only time I've seen him freak out.
Your ethnicity. The thought hadn't crossed my mind at all in any direction on that. So interesting.
No! God, please, no!
And here's what he's saying. He's only dated white girls and he's putting his heart out there and he's like, I don't know if I can date a Black girl, Latina. And he's like blaming her, like, oh, you're very like methodical and like controlling. And this is the only time he kind of like insults her a little bit.
Like not a shock, but you are very like calculated about what you say. And while I love that about you,
Wait for it.
it's also like, I'm like, what's she hiding?
And here's the truth, okay, boys and girls, from someone who's lived in the US for over 23 years. Most Americans, I would say more than 60%, don't date outside of their race. I know, you're thinking about the big metropolitan cities like New York City, San Francisco, LA, maybe Miami. These are exceptions to the rule. You go to North Carolina, South Dakota, Omaha, it's very rare to see mixed couples there. Even in places like San Diego, where I lived for 7 years. Walking around with my ex-girlfriend, I got a lot of stares. Now, I didn't care, but I did notice that when I moved to LA, people didn't care at all because it was so common. Here's the dirty truth, okay? I'm gonna be a little bit non-PC here. Most white guys are okay dating white girls and hot Asian girls. I would say a hot Asian girl in the States is like a normal Asian girl in Asia. They find them demure and feminine. Sometimes their families might have a problem with it, but usually they're okay. In my experience, 23 plus years in the US, well, okay, I'm gonna keep it real, all right? So go ahead, cancel me if you want.
Stop it. Get some help.
But in terms of white girls in America, 20 to 30% of them, depending on which city you're in, won't date Asian guys no matter what. 50% of them are open to dating us. And then depending on where you are, 10 to 20% of them actually prefer us. So given the reality of the situation in dating in the US, what can you do if you're a minority, if you're Asian, Indian, Black guy? I do these 3 things. 1, some point along in the conversation, when I feel it's comfortable enough to do so, I will say, so have you ever dated an Asian guy before? And then, depending on her response, I'll know if she's open to dating Asian guys. Some girls will say, no, I haven't, like almost in an excited way. And then there are girls who will say, no, but I'd like to. I've never tried. And then there are girls who say, no, not really. And just from her response to that, you kind of know if she's open to dating us or not. The second thing I look for are IOIs, indicators of interest. This can get really advanced, but basically if she's laughing, playing with her hair, looking at me politely, like all the signs that she's flirting with you. Okay, and a lot of these can be nonverbal. The third thing I do is if I'm totally not sure, or if I'm at a friend's party and I've interacted with her for at least 10 to 20 minutes, I'll ask, hey, I'm just curious. I'm okay either way, so no pressure. But is there a romantic vibe going on here? Or is it more of a friendly vibe that I'm getting? I just want to be sure so I can respect wherever you are emotionally. And you say that in a very chill way, like non-verbally and energetically, you're like, look, it doesn't matter what the answer is. I just want to find out so I can respect wherever it is you are.
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And by doing that, you kind of know definitively if she's open to dating you if you're a minority or not. In the case of Taylor, I thought she did a great job helping Garrett navigate to a point where she's like, look, I am worth your time and we have so much in common that this shouldn't matter.
The reason that I wasn't going to share my ethnicity was because I'm just really interested to know if my emotional, intellectual, and like thought processes like is enough. and then everything else is extra.
I also like that Taylor didn't just come out and say, I'm a hot, half Asian, half white girl. Because if she said that, most white guys would have been like, oh, cool, awesome, right? She didn't disclose that. And I think it hurt her, but she wanted to be sure that Garrett liked her for her.
I'm excited to maybe, get to know you more and show more of me. But I think I'll be really hurt if this doesn't end up working out and I gave away what I look like. I need to, at a certain point, feel that I'm enough.
To be fair to Love is Blind, there's been some great mixed couples. Kwame comes to mind, Cameron comes to mind. So props to them for that. However, I haven't seen any Asian guys on the show that succeeded. We've seen at least 2 Asian girls get picked to be married. The one guy we had here,
I guess it's a good moment for that. It's okay, them dudes.
Like your eyes are hurting you,
Yeah.
I don't mean.
That's weird.
I never thought I could care for someone that would bring me to tears.
not a very good representation of Asian guys. But I like to see more Asian guys on the show. Prove me wrong, Love is Blind.
Okay.
If you're an Asian guy who's struggling, I get it. I was in the US for 23 plus years. Some would say that I have climbed the top of that ladder as far as social skills and dating goes. I've dated some pretty incredible women.
Nice.
So if you're a minority, if you're an Asian guy in particular, and you want to learn how to get over this race barrier, check out datingwithoutborders.net. On that page, once you enter it, there's a more controversial video that I can't put on YouTube.
Yeah, boy.
But in that video, basically, I talk about why it's so hard for us to get over that invisible barrier and what you can do about it if you're currently living in a country where you have to deal with these kind of social pressures and how to navigate it and still get the result that you want.